All right, today we're cracking open a case file from the world of corporate finance. You know, if you look deep inside a company's balance sheet, you'll find this line item called accounts payable. Now, on the surface, it's pretty boring, just a list of bills they need to pay. But if you look a little closer, it's a ledger packed with secrets, strategy, and some serious power plays.
So let's get right into it. I know, this sounds totally backwards, right? From day one, we're all taught pay your bills on time. But get this, in the world of high-stakes corporate finance, strategically delaying payments isn't always a sign of trouble. Sometimes it can actually be a masterstroke, a way to turn a boring old obligation into a really powerful financial tool.
And the main piece of evidence in this whole investigation is a metric called Days Payable Outstanding, or DPO. Simply put, it's just the average number of days a company hangs onto its cash before finally paying a supplier. And believe me, this one number can tell you a fascinating story about a company's financial health, its power in the market, and its overall strategy.
So what's the motive here? Why would a company want to stretch out its payments? Well, it's all about one thing, maximizing something called free cash flow. Think about it like this. The second you pay a bill, that cash is gone. It's out of your hands. But for every single day you don't pay it, that cash is still yours. It's sitting right there in your bank account, earning a tiny bit of interest, funding your operations, working for you. You're basically getting an interest-free loan from your suppliers.
Okay, so to really get how this all works, we've got to decode the financial blueprint. Let's follow the money and see how this metric is actually put together. Before we can get our DPO number, we have to find a related clue first. It's called the Payables turnover ratio. All this does is measure how often a company pays its suppliers over a year. So a high turnover means they're paying off bills all the time, maybe 12 times a year, once a month. A low turnover means they're paying way less often, maybe just 4 times a year. This frequency, that's the key that unlocks the whole thing.
And now, here's the big reveal. The math is actually so simple, it's kind of beautiful. You just take 365 days in a year and divide it by that turnover ratio we just talked about. So if a company pays its suppliers, say, 4 times a year, its DPO is about 91 days. This simple formula is how we turn the how often into the how long, which is way more intuitive.
So a high DPO means a company is holding on to its cash for longer. But here's the question. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? This is where our investigation really kicks into high gear. We have to interrogate the suspect, so to speak, to figure out the real story behind the numbers.
Now, this is what I find so interesting. DPO is a total two-sided coin. A high number can mean two completely opposite things. On the one hand, it can be a sign of incredible strength. You know, the company has so much bargaining power, it can basically tell its suppliers, hey, we're paying you in 90 days, take it or leave it, and they maximize their cash flow. But on the other hand, it could be a huge red flag, a warming sign that the company is struggling and just doesn't have the cash to pay its bills.
So that's the absolute crucial question for any analyst. You have to figure out the why. Is this high DPO the result of a powerhouse company negotiating great terms because they can? Or is it a sign of weakness, a company desperately delaying payments because it's in financial trouble? The number alone won't tell you. You gotta dig deeper. And this right here shows just how powerful DPO really is. It's a star player in something called the cash conversion cycle. Now, this cycle just measures how long it takes a company to turn its investment in stuff, its inventory, back into cold, hard cash. You've got cash going out for inventory, then a wait for cash to come in from customers. But DPO, it's the only part of the cycle you actually subtract. So by making your DPO bigger, you directly shorten the amount of time your own money is tied up. It's a huge lever to pull.
But, you know, as any good detective will tell you, some clues can be misleading. And DPO, as powerful as it is, comes with a checklist of traps that can send you down the completely wrong path if you're not careful.
First off, there's something called window dressing. This is where a company might delay a bunch of payments right before they report their quarterly earnings, just to make their cash position look better than it is. Then you've got seasonality. Think about a retailer stocking up for the holidays. Their payables are going to be massive for a little while, and it can skew the average. Also, this formula usually only tracks purchases made on credit, so any cash deals are invisible. And finally, one huge purchase, like a company buying a new factory, can throw the numbers way off for a quarter. That's why you always want to look at the trend over time, not just one snapshot.
So to get a real sense of what's normal and what's not, you can't look at a company in a vacuum. You've got to compare it to the usual suspects. You have to put it in an industry lineup, because context is everything.
And what's considered a high DPO can be wildly different depending on the industry.
A big manufacturer might have long production cycles, so a DPO of 60 days could be totally normal for them. But a retailer, who needs to move inventory fast, usually pays their suppliers quicker, maybe in 30 to 45 days. And then you have service companies with almost no inventory at all. They might have the shortest DPOs of the bunch.
But here is a critical plot twist. While those industry norms are a great starting point, a company's sheer size and market power can completely rewrite the rules. A massive, dominant company can force its suppliers to accept payment terms that are way beyond what's typical for their industry just because those suppliers are terrified to lose their business. So after all that, what's the final verdict in our case of the held cash? Well, DPO is so much more than just a number on a page. It's a measure of tension. It's this delicate balance between a company's financial power to hold on to its cash and the promises it makes to its partners, those suppliers who really depend on them. It's a story about strategy, leverage, and trust, all packed into a single number.